Hi, everybody. It's Raven from Team SG, and I am coming live to you today, and we're going to talk about tarot. I'm one of the writers from Sage Goddess, and the reason you don't see Athena's beautiful background is that I am coming to you live from Seattle. I'm on the remote team. But I'm hoping to kind of help out today to chat with you a little bit about tarot. Got a list of great questions here to help you out and help you learn tarot maybe a little easier. I've been a reader and a teacher for almost 30 years, not to date myself. And I've got some great tips and stuff to help y'all out. And this is Phoebe. She loves to go live. She jumps in on the meetings at Sage Goddess all the time. So she is here to give you all a little bit of feline love. Alrighty, so I have a group of questions from y'all, and I'm going to get rolling. So one of the first questions I have on the list to answer is kind of the differences between a tarot deck and an oracle deck. Is one better than the other? Is one easier than the other? I like them both. I have such an affinity for tarot. That's kind of my favorite. But if you're a beginner and the tarot seems a little bit daunting, there's no reason not to start with an oracle deck. The one thing that's really fun about oracle decks is like on this particular deck, there is a key word on the front. And it kind of helps you tap into what that message might be. And then you can turn it over and see the message on the back. So if you're starting out, I like that. And sometimes, like if I'm too deep into something, having a message on the back kind of gets to the point easier. So don't think that one is better than the other, because it really doesn't matter. But a proper tarot deck has 78 cards in it, and it's divided up between the major and minor arcana. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But we're going to start from the beginning with the history of the tarot, which is one of my very favorite things because nobody really knows where it comes from, which makes it all the more mystical sort of stories to go with it. So the first kind of reference of the tarot was back in the 1400s in Italy, and it was called tarocchi. And back then, they used it more as a game for royalty. In fact, the court jester would kind of act out some of the cards, which is kind of fun, as entertainment basis, which I think is kind of neat. They were doing divination, and they didn't even really know it. But there are references to it in ancient China, India, Egypt, and basically all over. So the first time it really started being used as a divination tool was in the 1780s. And they assigned divinatory meanings to it and started using it to, what they would call tell fortunes. So probably the most popular deck out there is the Rider-Waite deck, which was created by Arthur Waite and Pamela Coleman Smith, and it was published in December of 1909. And is probably, I would say, besides the Thoth deck, which is another very popular deck, probably the most popular one ever out there. So now let's get into what makes a tarot deck a tarot deck. It's divided, like I said earlier, it's divided between the major and the minor arcana. And the major arcana are the cards in the deck that have the Roman numerals on them. And they usually are more innate. There's a lot more going on in these cards, a lot more symbolism, sometimes, a bigger story, more objects, more colors, and all of that. And they are basically a map of the collective unconscious. We all have archetypes that, whether you know it or not, you already know all these archetypes. This is stuff that's living already in your subconscious. And I always say it's a process of remembering. And these archetypes are things that no matter whether you're on a street in New York or a jungle in Peru, things that we all know. The idea of mother, father, the villain, the fool, the teacher, the journey, all sorts of things like that we all know. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's our personal story of what mother and father means because, some of us don't have a great story when it comes to that. but it definitely is a story that is always relatable. So these 22 cards are kind of, I call them your major life lessons. They're the shared archetypes. They are collective unconscious. They are experience of all humankind, and it's your spiritual journey. The major arcana is divided up into two. You have the 0 through 10, and then the 11 through 22. And the way of kind of looking at it is the first half of the major arcana are kind of, and I call growing up, becoming an adult. As we go out into the world and we manifest things and we learn to add structure to things and we take journeys and we have children. It's that kind of that first cycle. The second half of the tarot, or the major arcana of the tarot, is, and I apologize, that's my dog in the background. It's probably the Amazon man. Sorry about that. All my animals are showing up today, so apologies. The second half of the major arcana is more about our spiritual journey as we get older, and you start thinking about your mortality. You start thinking about your spiritual contributions. You start thinking about, how have I grown and evolved from when I was in my 20s or my 30s? And I really like some of the messages that come along with that. Okay, so what is the minor arcana? The minor arcana is very similar to a playing deck of cards, and you can actually use an actual playing deck of cards to do a great reading. So the minor arcana, it has 56 cards in it. Sometimes they're known as the pip cards. There are 4 suits that represent the 4 elements and how we live them day to day. So the gist of the minor arcana is how we live the major arcana lessons in our life day to day, how we learn about structure day to day, how we learn about manifesting day to day. So when you pull major arcana and minor arcana cards together in a reading, it's really giving you instructions on how do I live this? How do I do this? So each of the suits has 14 cards in it. You have your ace through 10, and then you have your court cards. They'll either be the page or princess, the knight, the queen, or the king. And basically what the court cards are doing, the page or the princess are beginnings. The knight is movement. The queen is kind of support and advice. And the king is where we really step into our power. Sometimes people will talk about when the court cards show up in a reading, that it's an actual person showing up in your reading, which can actually happen, which often does. But sometimes it's hard to kind of place that court card symbolism in a reading when you're asking a question. And if that is the case, then I like to kind of look at the energy that each of these court cards brings to a reading. Is it a beginning? Is it time for movement? Is it time to step back and support something? Or is it time for me to step into my power? So it's the minor arcana is kind of your day-to-day expressions. It's the mundane things that you do in life. It's how you put your visions into physical form. It's how you participate in your spiritual journey. So yeah, let's see. All right. So this is a great question that came up. It is the 811 controversy. And now it's not some big crazy metaphysical controversy. It's just a different numbering style that some tarot decks have in the major arcana. Sometimes you're going to find that number 8 is your strength, or which is the card with the lion on it, which symbolizes Leo. And sometimes you'll see it as justice or balance. One thing to note, that if you follow astrology, that the 8 as the strength card, it follows exactly in chronological order of the zodiac. And if the 11, if the justice is in that 8 spot, then it doesn't follow along with the chronological order of the signs. So it's not something that you need to really stress out about or try to find one numbering system or another, but it is helpful to kind of know that. And for me, I'm an 8 as a life number. And I can relate to both the Strength card and the Balance or the Justice card. I can find lessons in both of those. So again, not something to really get concerned about if you're a beginner, but it is something to know. Okay, so the next thing on my list is how to purchase a deck, or do you have to wait to get gifted a deck? My very first deck was gifted to me when I was, I think it was in middle school, and it was profound. It kind of unlocked the door for me, and that was a very special experience. But I wouldn't have all the amazing decks if I didn't buy them myself. So I say, choose your own deck if you want to, gift a deck if you want to. And the decks that are gifted to you, they may have extra special meaning. When you choose a deck, you may find that the art speaks to you, that there is a particular symbolism, that it's more relatable, that you love the style, the colors, the energy. I always feel that if a deck is speaking to you when you're shopping, then there's something in it that it's ready to share with you. There's lessons to learn. All right, so you've got your deck. It's in your nice little box, all wrapped up. You bring it home, and for me, the really big thing is clearing it. You know, this has gone through a printing process, a packaging process, and I think it's really important to clear your deck. My favorite way is to smudge, and having a deck here, I'll show you. So here's the deck. Have your smudge stick and run it through the smoke. That's a great way of doing it. A black kyanite, you know how Athena talks about black kyanite being such a powerful clearing and protective and grounding stone. You can set a piece of black kyanite on it. Another thing that I really love to do is I'll set it on my windowsill. Oh, look at that. Hello. This is my first time going live, so I'm trying to pay attention to the feed. So we'll see. Oh, you use black kyanite. Oh, wonderful, Gypsy. That's great. I know that's one of my favorite things to use too. Actually, I'll show you my very favorite stone that I put with my deck. This is a piece of labradorite that was gifted to me, oh my gosh, by my mentor, Tess. Tara and I both know Tess. She was a mentor for both of us, and she gifted me this, and I keep it with my deck. But yeah, black kyanite is fantastic for clearing. So anyway, set it in the moonlight. Set it on your windowsill. Set it in the moonlight. Another thing that I like to do, and I'm going to put a disclosure with this, it really depends on the weather and where you live. It's called earthing. And you wrap your deck in a piece of cloth. I like to do silk. And then I always do it in the summer up in Seattle because, you know, it all rains up here. And then cover it with dry soil, you know. And I actually do it I live near a beach, and I'll actually do it in the sand and let the earth kind of clear and cleanse it. But again, you got to be really careful with that depending on where you live, so you don't, Sharon uses black kyanite too. Oh, and selenite. Oh, that's a good one. Hi, Kitty. Oh, this is so fun. I love seeing all you guys on here. Okay, so let me get back to where we're going. So we're talking about clearing the deck. Another way is shuffling your deck, percussion, singing bowls. Athena did a great class. I'm not sure if all of you saw it on Sound Tools, and she was talking about the benefits of singing bowls. So that is another great way to chimes, bells. You can clear it that way. Tapping. You can work on some tapping on the deck. Sometimes I'll take my deck and that's a great way. Oh, sorry, Phoebes. That's a great way to clear the deck as well. So you've got your new deck. You've cleared all the energy, and how should you store your deck? I have a couple of decks that I use. As a reader, I have my work deck, and I always like to make sure that my work deck has kyanite or something kind of powerful with it. I also, you can find a bag and put your deck in your bag, and you can put your stones right on in there. I like to do that too. My altar deck, oh my gosh, I've had this box for like 20 years. I've got an altar deck that I put in here, and I set it right on, obviously my altar. But I'll put my stones and stuff in there as well. I always like to kind of show love and respect for these decks since they're working with me and all of that. So you've got your new deck, you've cleared it, you've got a great way to store it. Now, how do you get to know your deck? One of the funnest things I think about reading for me is my decks have different personalities. And you may find that you've got your down and dirty deck that's just going to give it to you straight. It's not going to sugarcoat it. It's just going to throw those hard lessons on you. And then maybe you have those decks that you use in a time when you're feeling a little bit vulnerable and you need kind of that love and support. But as you get to know your decks, you'll find that different ones have different personalities. So playing with that deck, shuffling it, looking at the cards. One thing that I love to do with the new deck is I'll sleep with it under my pillow and have it kind of get to know me and get to know my unconscious self and my conscious self. So that's really fun. Oh, yeah. I love that. But I definitely have an asshole deck. Oh, that's nice too. Bond with it. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love all the comments here. You guys are flowing right with this. I love it. So as you start getting to know the different personalities for your deck, you may find that you use them for different types of readings. And I definitely do. Like I have my decks. I like to include astrology in my readings. And so the deck, like this one, the Sun card, it's got all the astrology. It has everything on here. So I can kind of look at all the symbols and I can, do kind of a richer reading. And some of them are a little bit more simple, kind of what I call the down and dirty decks. One of my favorite ways to learn how to use a deck is what I call tarot constellations. And a tarot constellation, if you get out the Magician and then you get out the Aces, that is a constellation. All the Aces go with the Magician card, which is the number 1 card in the major arcana, and like all the 2s go with the Priestess, and she is the number 2 in the Roman numerals. So when you put those constellations together, and I'm going to use the Aces and the Magician. The Magician card is the only card that has a major arcana card that has all the 4 minor arcana cards in it, because the Magician knows how to manipulate all of the elements. And by looking at the Magician card and all of the Aces, that constellation is a great way to learn both the major arcana card. Let's see. Oh, yeah, tarot constellations. Very good. Okay, sorry, there goes the dog again. It's a very good way to learn the tarot quicker. So a Magician, he is about manifestation, he's about intentions, he's about potential and bringing things into reality. And he uses those 4 Aces to do that. So I love to I'll just lay it out on my floor in my living room, and I will have all the Aces and the Magician, all the 2s and the Priestess, the 3s with the Empress. And you can kind of formulate a story there. And as you start reading, you are going to remember that story, and you can reference, like if you have a bunch of 3s in your reading, you can reference the Empress and how all that energy works together. So that's a fantastic way to learn also, and getting to know your deck and all of that kind of stuff. Let's see. Okay. Oh, another way that you can get to know your deck, I forgot about this one. This is a fun one. Is put a personal item like this pendant that I wear every day, put that in the bag with it. A personal item so your deck really gets to know you. So that's one more thing I forgot to bring up. Okay, retiring a deck. That's a great question. How do you know when your deck is done? For me, like I said, my work deck, you can see it's all kind of frayed on the edges. The artwork starts to get a little bit faded. And I can feel that I'm not getting as much punch from my reading anymore. And there's several ways that you can kind of retire a deck. I've had people talk to me about burning each of the cards. kind of having a ceremony, and it's like a cremation, and then taking the ashes and spreading them in a meaningful way. I'm so silly. I can't give up my decks. I have so many decks that I have in special little bags that are retired, and I just haven't been able to get them up, give them up yet. So, do what you're called to do with that. But for me, when I stop using a deck, I always take that moment and have that heartfelt thank you for all the work. My decks, they bring me abundance with my reading practice and my teaching practice. And they're an extension of yourself. And they've got such special meaning, and they help you on your journey. And so for me, retiring a deck is kind of a special thing. Oh, thank you. This is Agni Manatite. I got this a really long time ago. Thank you, April. Let's see. I love all that. Okay, so moving on, how to do a reading. Let's talk about that. So Athena talks about this so often. It's so important to prepare yourself and prepare your space. It's just crucial to doing spiritual work. And she talks about this a lot. And I could not agree with her more. I just love listening to her talk about this. So as you prepare yourself, again, smudge yourself, have your crystals, have your stones. Maybe you like to take a sacred bath before you receive your spiritual wisdom. Maybe there's a meditation that you like to do. Maybe you burn sage, maybe you use special oils and gemstones, any of that. Whatever you're called to do. Oh, hi, Michelle. Whatever you're called to do it. You know what's right for you. It's in your heart. So I also like to prepare my deck. Same thing. You're going to smudge it and do all of that. One of the things I like to do is I have a piece of leather, some deer hide that I like to do my reading on. Maybe you have a really special table covering that was gifted to you, or maybe it has some artwork on it. Whatever that is, to kind of prepare that space. Maybe you like to light candles. Maybe you like to burn some essential oil, whatever that is. But, as Athena teaches, we need to prepare our space, and we need to prepare ourselves for spiritual wisdom. Next, you're going to shuffle. I do shuffling sometimes as a comfort thing, where I just will sit and shuffle. Sometimes I don't even know I'm doing it, but there is a comfort in it for me. But when I'm shuffling to do a reading for somebody or a reading for myself, I don't know, I just stop. I think spirit lets me know. So just kind of listen to your guides, your ancestors, your angels, whatever you like to. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a great comment, Nicole. She says she recently got a deck and the cards are quite large and she has small hands. I get that. My very first deck was a Voyager deck, and it's huge. You can take them and shuffle them in this way. You don't have to do like a Vegas shuffle is what I call it. But you can play with them that way. You can take them and spread them all at a table and mix them all up. There's lots of different ways of doing that, because I know some decks are really tiny and some decks are really big. So that was a really great comment. Thanks, Nicole. So you've shuffled your deck, you've mixed up all the cards, and now you want to do a reading. So I always tell people, if you're just starting out to tarot, you don't have to learn some big fancy spread. You really don't. In fact, what I've done in my class is to start out with one card. You can do a kick-ass reading with one card. It's totally fine. And there's my work wife. So as you start to kind of shuffle, you may find that cards literally pop out. That's something that anyone that reads the tarot probably know that that card has meaning for you. So what I like to do also is, if you're reading for another person, we're talking about shuffling. Sometimes people find it a little awkward to shuffle, or they don't know how to shuffle. And so I will have them hold the deck and kind of put prayers and mojo into it. If they want to shuffle, I absolutely let them. But, you know, if people are uncomfortable shuffling, or like the earlier comment about the cards being too big, it's okay to hold them. It's okay to hold them and put their energy in it, so you can get vibes from, they get to pull the cards and put their own vibes into the deck. So back to how many cards. I always say simpler the better. The meaning is more clear. I think sometimes when we pull a bunch of cards, I should speak for myself, it's really easy to pick out the cards that I want or the message that I want. And if you keep it really simple, the message comes across really clear. I love 3-card spreads. I use them for myself all the time. You can use it for past, present, future, action, reaction, outcome, beginning, middle, and end. These are some wonderful 3-card spreads that my coworker, Athena Mack, who is also a sage goddess, she had some great ideas for this, so I kind of poached him. She has another one, what, where, and why, thoughts, feelings, actions. So you can use 3 cards super easy to do a reading. Now, how do we interpret those cards? You know, how best do we do that? You know, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a psychic to do a good reading. I think it's really about getting quiet. In shamanic practices, we call that becoming that hollow bone, where we kind of let our mind get out of the way and we let our heart and our intuition speak to us. And it's funny because sometimes some things may be coming through that might not make sense to you. Like, why is this coming up? I remember I was doing a reading for a gentleman. I used to do readings at Pike Place Market down at the Seattle waterfront. And I kept getting something about a green raincoat. And it ended up being something really important in the reading for this person, and I had no idea. So trust your intuition, trust what comes through. You know, spend some time, you know, what's happening in the card? What are the colors speaking? What are they telling you? What is the numerology telling you? What did the symbols mean to you? You know, is there a pattern? Is there a story? So just let it come through. Don't get overcomplicated with it. Have fun with it. And one thing that I also do is if a card just is not speaking to me, and this happens, it happens to everybody. You know, here's a card. This card is not speaking to me. I will lay my hand over the top of it and get real quiet and ask spirit, guides, ancestors, angels, whatever you like to call it, talk to me. I'm having a block to this. It's not coming through. Why can't I figure this card out? And getting really quiet. So I think the biggest thing is about getting quiet, you know, prepping yourself, prepping your space, allowing the information to come through. Don't judge it. Don't second guess it. It's important to just kind of let it flow. Okay, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about doing readings for others because I think it's important. When I'm going back to my early days as a reader, and you know, you kind of learn through trial and error. There's not, you know, and these, 30 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot of, training as far as what to do. One of the most important things we talked about, and that Athena teaches, and you did drink here. Got on my coffee. Is about setting that space. It's about allowing yourself to be open to the information, allowing yourself to be open to the process, but also protecting, making sure that you have good boundaries. When I was reading, what would happen would be I would sit with multiple people. I'd have a sign-up sheet and I'd have multiple people. And by the end of the day, I'd be a wreck. Sometimes I'd be kind of nauseous. There was one time I did a big event and I got lost on the way home. And it was because I wasn't doing a good job of, oh, thank you. Rachel said she liked my glasses. Thank you. I wasn't doing a good job of keeping myself separated from that energy. I was soaking it all in. I mean, we're all empaths. And when we soak too much of that kind of stuff in, it can have a physical effect on your body. And so making sure that you smudge yourself, that you clear your space, your deck, and everything. Athena taught a great class a while back on cord cutting, using aphthmes for cord cutting, and making sure that you cut those cords, because a lot of times when people come for a reading, they're in a space of being emotional, they're in a space of being vulnerable, and you're their guide. They're looking to you for comfort, they're looking to you for healing, they're looking to you for guidance, and most of the time, not consciously, will kind of suck some of that energy. And you have to be really good at cutting those cords and keeping yourself, really clean. I used to take salt baths a lot. Before I really got deep into crystals, I had this giant piece of clear quartz with black tourmaline in it. And that's another way. If you haven't heard about our Living Magic classes, I hope you have, because they're really fantastic. There's Crystalpedia in there, and you can learn about different crystals that can help guide you to doing the work and keeping yourself clean and healed, or not healed, clean and centered and grounded and everything. There's so much stuff in those Living Magic classes that can help you with setting space, about how to keep your energy clean. So I love watching Athena's classes. I watch them all the time. And so I learn a lot from that. So make sure that you take a chance to check them out if you haven't. Yeah. So, and as you open, kind of, we've talked about opening kind of how Athena talks about opening a circle. You're opening a reading. So as you're opening that reading with that person, and you've set your space and your energy is guarded and you're feeling good and you get ready to get down into it, I always share with people, share the information with them the way that you would want to hear it yourself. It's about being loving and about being kind. You're given the opportunity, and Spirit is working with you to help heal and guide. I've definitely had readings from people that, are talking to me about a curse or trying to make everything spooky and negative. And I just don't buy into that. And, you have the ability to just stop that reading. Make sure that the people that you are getting readings from are coming from a place of integrity. So I always tell people, that old message about, treat others how you would like to be treated. Because, you can make a difference. You can be there to start their journey, to help them midway, or to help them, finish a journey with a particular situation. So you've done your reading, and now it's time to close the reading and to close your space. I always love to tell people at the end of a reading, thank you. Thank you for sharing space with me today. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing your energy. I learn as much from the readings as they do. And it's so funny. Sometimes when I have something going on in my own life, I'll have clients sit down that ask me like the same thing. And I'm always like, okay, I get it. I hear ya. So you may find that happens, that happens to you too. And the big thing is you're going to find your own way. There's no right or wrong way to do a reading, especially if you're coming from the heart. You will find your own way to set your space. You'll find your own way to clear it. You'll find your own herbs and oils and stones and everything that you love to have with you. You might even have a little spirit animal with you. You're like Phoebe. She loves to come to readings. Oh, my gosh. But as you make sure that, you release the energy, just like Athena teaches about releasing the energy. As you open your circle, as you open your space, release the energy, thank your guides, ancestors, everybody showed up for the reading, and make sure that you take care of yourself, make sure that you are not taking energy home that doesn't belong to you. So next, what I want to do, I'm so excited to be able to do this, and please bear with me, this is new, but I would love to pull some cards for some of you out there. So hi, Phoebe. Yep, she's saying hi to you too, Tanya. She's such an attention whore. But that's my girl. So if you have a question, let me know, kind of put it in here, and we'll do some polls. And again, please bear with me. I am just learning this live feed. So I'm going to try to get the cat off the desk. Yeah, see, she doesn't want to get down. Here, you just get down here. Okay. Okay. Can I have a card? Yeah. Throw a question out there. Oh, you love it. Okay. Alexis Rogers says, I would like a general card. So let's do that. Okay. Alexis, your general card. Okay, so I'm shuffling now. I'm shuffling for you. Got my labradorite right here. I've got my tourmaline to keep me protected. And I have my amethyst that connects me to source and higher wisdom. Okay, so Alexis Rogers, let's see. Oh, this is lovely. Okay, you have the Ace of Cups. Now, aces are the, I always call them the purest expression of a suit. It's the very first suit. And it's so funny, Tara and I talk about this all the time, and I know y'all know Tara from Living Astrology. What makes your heart sing, Alexis? What makes it sing? What brings you joy? This is about finding, about finding your true love. And you know how Athena talks about rose quartz being agape, being, that big true love. And that's really what this is about, is making sure that the things in your life make your heart sing. This is a complicated time and things can get really stressful. And so whenever I see this card in my own reading, it helps me, it reminds me to take kind of a fearless inventory of the things in my life that bring me joy, and stepping away from the things in my life, if I can. I mean, we all have responsibilities, stepping away from the things in my life that aren't good for me. Things that maybe I need to let go of, things I need to transmute, things I need to release. And so as you go out there, my dear, tap into what makes your heart sing. Okay, let's see. All right. All right, let's see. Okay, Teresa Jolly, I would love a card. What should I be focusing on? Oh my gosh, that is such a great question. Sometimes when people come to me for readings and they're like, I'm not really sure what to ask, it's okay. Just, ask Spirit, what do I need to know? All right, Teresa, let's see. Oh, this is the Queen of Dis. I love her. This is such beautiful energy. For me, this is real caretaking sort of energy. This is about, and she's an earth mother. So this can be, also things in nature. But when I see her being the suit of Dis, this is about nurturing something or someone. And it can be about nurturing yourself. The earth energy that comes with it for me always reminds me about being out in nature and being re-energized and revived by nature. But it also reminds me too that, nurturing and caring for those around you in a really grounded way, because this is about earth energy. It's also can be because it kind of sometimes discs are associated with your work and how you gain money. So it can also be stuff that you are nurturing in your life that in turn nurtures you back, like a paycheck. So I really like that stuff there. The other thing that I always tell people with earth energy, and because this is associated with Virgo, it's like, are you eating things that are good for you? I'm not always good at that, but make sure that you're eating something, good that's nurturing and nurturing you. All right, Rachel, what do we need to focus on this year? Oh, let's see. Oh, gosh, her name went past. I didn't see the last name. I'm so sorry. That went quick. Okay, Rachel, I'm not sure of your last name, but you asked me what should I be focusing on this year? All right, Miss Rachel. Love. How beautiful is that? This is the Two of Cups, and this really, this is Venus in Cancer, um, which is, oh, I just love this. Okay, so twos also have to do with decisions. And so a lot of times when I see this card in my own reading, it's asking me to make decisions from my heart. It's asking me to choose things that have heart and meaning in my life. It's also about balance. This can be in your relationships as well. All this, beautiful Cancer energy that kind of, pops in there for you. And can be, again, this could be romantic relationships. This could be family relationships. And it doesn't always have to be your family of origin. I know we've been talking the last couple of days with a friend of mine about, family of origin versus family of choice. So these are all about those relationships in there and about tuning into your emotions and choosing things that have heart and meaning. When you should be, and, with that Cancer, when you should open your shell and be out there, and when you should close your shell and go back. So let's take that. All righty, let me see. Oh, let's do Debbie Reynolds. I would love a reading. I've never done this before. She is looking for her calling. Well, I always say to people, the tarot isn't going to give you need to get on the bus Thursday and your soulmate's going to be the third one over there in the seat, but it can sure help you taking the right steps to find that calling. Okay, so let's see. What is the first step that you need to do to find your calling? Oh my gosh, we pulled the same card again. This is the Ace of Cups. Dear, what makes your heart sing? What really gives you heart and meaning? What I'm doing right now with you all gives me heart and meaning. I feel so overwhelmed with gratitude and love. We all have something in our life, whether it be something artistic, whether, maybe it's science. It doesn't have to be artistic, but there's always something. And sometimes, when we get caught up in the day-to-day stuff of paying bills and mortgages and all that kind of stuff, it's important to kind of remember when you were a child, what made you so happy? What made your heart sing? What was your favorite thing to do? What did you want to be when you grow up? So maybe as you're kind of looking at that calling, tap back into that inner child that didn't have the worries of the world around them and was able to look at things in a more unbiased sort of answer. All right, now my dog is here. That's what all the whining was. This is Finn. I can't believe this. Everybody is showing up. They must be really loving your energy. Okay. All right, let's move on. All righty. So, okay, everybody's laughing at we're okay. Okay, what guy? Oh, gosh, this goes so quick. Okay. Crystal Malika. I'd love a card from Spiritual Guidance. All right, let's see what we have for you, my dear. Let's see what Spirit and Finnegan have to deal with you here. Okay. Oh, whoa, look at this. You've got the full card. This is one of my favorite cards of the deck. I love this card. This is the card of giving you permission to go have some fun. The Fool is really about stepping outside of your comfort zone, looking at things from a different perspective. This is Aquarius and Uranus energy here in this card. And that energy is not afraid to try something different. That sometimes they can be kind of the rule breaker. They're they're very pioneering. They're the kind of the rebels, and they love my brother's an Aquarius, and he's very eccentric, and he's always pushing the boundaries and looking beyond everything and trying new things and not worrying about what other people think. So I love that. So it's time for you to step outside of that comfort zone. The other thing about the Fool card is you'll often see the court jester, and he's stepping off of a cliff or something. It also is challenging you to have faith and trust. It's one of the big cards also about having that faith and trust. Oh, Brittany James, my birthday's tomorrow, and I'd love a card for my upcoming solar return. Yeah, okay, Brittany, let's do a card. We'll do a couple more of these, and then I better get back to work. I'm having too much fun doing this. Okay, Brittany, what's your birthday card, my dear? Justice or balance. I like this. Now, this is Libra energy, and Venus energy. When I personally look at that card for myself, it speaks to me about where I'm in balance and where I'm not in balance. You know, the balance card, it never stays that way forever. It's always kind of doing this. I don't know if it ever stays balanced for any length of time. But I would take a look, you know, in different areas of your life. You know, what does your work-life balance look like? You know, kind of figuring out if you're spending enough time doing the things that are good for you and healthy for you versus doing the things that you have to do, like, you know, pay the bills. So take some time during this year, you know, with Libra energy. You know, that's beautiful sort of energy. That kind and that, you know, that diplomatic, that kind of energy there. Kind of trying to remember all my words here. So the fairness, balance, destiny, luck, all sorts of stuff like that kind of falls into the year for you. So, all right. Sorry. Okay. Right. Oh, he's moved so fast. Okay. Right. Daily fun. Guidance, Spirit, Megan Jones. Okay, trying to read these. They're going so quick. Okay, Megan Jones. We're going to do 3 more. Megan, you're one. You're asking for a little bit of guidance from Spirit. Let's see what shows up. Oh, interesting. The Hanged Man. Oh, I'm so glad we did this one. Now, first of all, Megan, do not look at this as, oh my gosh, this is terrible. This is scary. Oh my gosh, I don't think of the Hanged Man that way at all. The Hanged Man really talks to you about if you don't have an action to take, if you're not completely settled in your mind and your heart and your spirit on an action to take, wait. The Hanged Man is about patience. It's also, the reason he's upside down is it's about maybe needing to look at something from a different perspective. But it's always a time to wait. It's always a time for that patience. It's always, people think it's scary, but it's not. And it's probably because the artwork, it is on the card, but it's a time of surrendering. And it's a time sometimes that we have to sacrifice things that aren't good for us. But it also, a lot of times when you see the Hanged Man below, there's kind of an aura around his head that it's a powerful time for enlightenment. So don't be afraid of that energy coming forward for you, my dear. This could be a really powerful time for enlightenment and letting go of things so that you can create something bigger and better and beautiful. Okay. Let's see if I can find one here. Okay, 2 more. Guidance with my career, Liz Grant. Okay, let's see what Spirit wants you to know about that. All right. I pulled the Moon card for you. Okay, the Moon card sometimes for me in my readings is the moon card means, well, think of it this way. When the moon is out, it's kind of hard to see things. Things are a little bit murky. When the sun is out, you can see all the details. Sometimes when the moon card comes up with guidance around career, some things may be a little bit hidden, and you may need to tap into your subconscious, maybe through meditation. It also could be your intuition. If your intuition is telling you to, speaking to you about making a choice or making a change or anything like that, it's really about tapping into that intuition, may give you those answers. It's also can be a little bit illusionary, because we can't see things very good in the moonlight. And so something that looks scary, kind of like when you were a kid and you see a shadow in your room that's really scary and you wake up in the morning and it's an umbrella. So really tap into that intuition. Automatic writing would be great. Meditation is great. Pay attention to your dreams, and that may be able to help you with some guidance on your career. All righty. Okay, let's, okay. To get another one. Oh, hi, Tara. All right, Gloria Parsons. What does Spirit want to tell her? Let's see. Okay. Ooh, Spirit wants to talk to you about the Wheel of Fortune. Oh my gosh, the Wheel of Fortune. Change, change, change. Cycles, destiny, opportunity. I love the Wheel of Fortune. It's the card that says you can't speed up time, you can't slow it down. That sometimes things come when they're supposed to come. And I know that's not the greatest answer. I always hate that. But Wheel of Fortune really does mean that things are starting to turn for the better. Things are coming around for the best. It can be a really lucky time for you too. Destiny, pay attention to symbols, signs, synchronicities, pay attention to that kind of stuff. It usually tells you that you're headed into some sort of a new cycle that's going to benefit you in some way. But I love that one. Yay, good for you. Okay, last one before I got to get back to work. Okay, let's see. Oh my goodness. Okay, Stefan. Oh, darn it. It's going too fast. Okay. Okay, our last one, Tanya Simpson. What should I pay attention to? Okay. What should I pay attention to? Okay, Tanya, let's see. What does Tanya need to pay attention to? Ooh, 10 of Discs. Kind of glad that we have this one. A lot of times when you see this card, again, people get a little freaked out about it because it looks kind of scary. 10s are the end of a cycle. And the 10 of Discs for me really is about taking on sometimes too much responsibility where we get really weighed down. And so as you're coming to the end of this cycle and you're getting ready to start fresh, maybe take a look at everything that you have on your plate. Does it all really need to be there? Is there room as you end this cycle of kind of, think of it as kind of scraping your plate at the end of a meal? Are there some things that you need to scrape off your plate? Are there some things that can kind of free up some of your energy so you're not doing too much? Because when we start doing too much, we start getting resentful, we start getting cranky, our body starts to talk back to us. So just don't take on too much as you start into this new cycle. So this is my first time going live, and I'm not quite sure how to end this all. Karen, thank you so much for helping me. Tarot is on here. Athena Mac, all of you are all my love to my mates here at work. But I think the biggest thing that I'd like to close up with this is have fun. Tarot is really fun. You don't have to be an expert to do any of this. Athena has we had a tarot class last Monday that I think is still available for you all to go back and take a look at, to purchase and take a look at. As you're going forward, and I know Athena covered these authors in her class on Monday, but I just wanted to reiterate it because we both have the same love for the same tarot authors, which I thought was really cool. My favorite one is Angeles Arian. It's called the Tarot Handbook. This was my Bible when I was learning tarot. Do be aware that she does use the Thoth deck as her examples for stuff in there, but it's a fantastic book. My other one, and Lori talked about this author quite a bit, is Mary K. Greer. She has, I used to use this workbook for my students. It's a tarot workbook for yourself, and it's for personal transformation. It has tons of different exercises in there and ways of interpreting, finding out your year card, kind of your soul card, all that kind of stuff. If you're able to find it, and Athena talked about this one too, she has a book that's out of print. You can find it. It's called Tarot Constellations. And I talked about that a little bit earlier today, about how the magician goes with the aces, the priestess goes with the twos, the empress goes with the threes. You can usually find it used on Amazon, but this book blew my mind. And the last one, Rachel Pollack. She's another one of my favorite authors. And it's called 78 Degrees of Wisdom. So I know Karen is going to put all this stuff up there so y'all can see it, but those are some of my favorite tarot authors. It's fun to study all of this stuff, but just remember when you are working with the tarot, you're remembering things that you've always known. And these are things that live up in the ether that we all know about. It's just kind of getting out of your way so that you can remember this. Thank you so much. This was really fun. You are all so nice with your comments, and thank you for putting up with all my crazy animals. And, hopefully I'll come back and do this again with y'all. Okay. Bye-bye. Have a blessed day.